Welcome to Untitled Polytechnic. This course is for those taking Introduction to ICT, Information, Communication and Technology. My name is Daniel O'Heron. I am your host. I will be taking you through this course once again. We are now in Module 2, and in Module 2 we will be looking at a different aspect of ICT. This time around, we will be looking at operating systems and how to manage files. We are in Module 2, Lesson 1, using computers and managing files. The main objectives of this module is that at the end of the lessons or your training, you will be able to use the common functions of a personal or laptop computers and its operating systems. Though our emphasis will be on Windows 10 operating system, the second objective is that you will be able to operate Windows 10 computer system. And the third objective is that you'll be able to organize files and folders using a Windows operating system. But let's first of all recall, you should look at this board here. I hope you can see my finger. Let's recall what we have learned in the past lessons in Module 1. You will recall that I brought up a diagrams like this showing how a computer system works. We have the input devices, we have system unit, and we have output devices. Under the input devices, we talked about those devices you can use to type or speak or capture data. I display several, devices like keyboard, like a mouse, like camera. You remember I brought my camera to the classroom, like microphone, like now I'm speaking, I'm video recording. All these are referred to as input devices. Input devices also include ability to transmit data via network and internet to your computer. In this case, like your internet connection modem is an input device. We then move on to talk about the system unit, which consists of central processing unit, random access memory, ROM, which stands for read-only memory. We also looked at the cache, hard disk and hard drive, referring to part of the system unit, CD, DVD and flash drives, and sound and graphic cards. Some of these things are part of the case, the box which you get from the store when you buy your computer system. We also looked at the output devices, which includes the screen, printers, projector, CD, DVD, flash drives. So as you can see in this framework, there are some devices that can serve both as input and system unit and output devices. So this is how computer is organized into different units. But for today, we will be looking more on the operating system. So the title of this, I think I have jumped something. Yeah, the title of this is Understanding Operating System. So when you couple all the devices together of a computer, you have a box. And in this box, we connect our printer, our screen, and all other devices. So on its own, a computer system is a dummy or a black box. That is why we refer to it as a black box, because you have connected all of these components together. On its own, it's not able to work. So it needs something to drive it, and for the various devices to talk and communicate with each other, they must speak a language together. So that language they speak is what we refer to as a computer operating system. So if we want to define it, operating system, what are we talking about? We can define it like this. Computer operating system is the software or instructions or codes or program that manages how you, in particular, interact with the computer. So you talk to a computer, you interact with the computer. For computer to reply you back, you need a software to say hello to a computer, to type something to a computer. So that software or instruction you give to a computer is referred to as operating system. The same operating system also guides us on how the programs on the computer functions, or how the computer itself will use and access other hardwares in the computer. So it is a big part of how your computer behaves and performs. In other words, operating system remains the backbone of your computer system. I said here, it is the backbone of the computer system. I'm not sure you're able to see it here. It controls how you store information on a file and manage file, and how you receive information. So here I said no operating system, no computer. If you have a computer well coupled together, if it doesn't have operating system, the computer itself will not work. This is why I said no operating system, no computer. It is the backbone of a computer. Therefore, it is very important that you understand the principles of operating system. Before you buy a computer, an operating system must have been pre-installed. So every new computer you buy from the shop comes with an operating system. If you don't have an operating system, you will bring an empty computer home, no matter how heavy the computer is. So usually the operating system comes with pre-installed on every brand new computer you bought from the shop. So pre-installed operating system, however, gets old. As your computer gets old, so also we have new versions of the same operating system. So you may want to upgrade one computer with an old operating system. That's why I said here. But if you have had your computer for a few years or for a long time, you may want or need to upgrade your operating system to the most current version the operating systems manufacturer has released. You can see, I don't know, you see very old computers here. You may not find this one in existence again, but I tell you, I personally, I have used this type of computer. This is a floppy disk drive, 2 floppy disks, and then the computer only used DOS. I have used this type of computer in my life. I have used this type of computer too in my life. I have used this type. So as the computer gets old, so the operating system gets old. So you may want to replace the older operating system through upgrade. We'll be looking at the various type of operating system we have. Generally, there are so many, but we'll be looking at these three types of operating system: Windows operating system, Windows 10 especially. Then we will be looking at Mac operating system. These are actually the main dominant operating system in the market. So we have Mac operating system derived from Macintosh, and we have the Linux operating system. I think I want to start sharing with you first about Linux operating system. It's not very popular. It was developed by a man called Linus Torvalds. So Linus, I think, is from Finland. Linux computer operating system created in the early 90s by a Finnish software engineer called Linus Torvalds and the Free Software Foundation, FSF. While still a student at the University of Helsinki, Torvalds started developing Linux to create a system similar to Minix or Unix operating system. This operating system, they are only operating in a mainframe, not desktop. So maybe this is why Linux is not that very popular. It may be very popular in Finland or in the European countries. The second most popular operating system is the Apple, the Mac. They call it Mac operating system, developed by Apple. Actually, Mac started before Microsoft. And rumor has it that both Apple or Bill Gates and Jobs were working together on the system before Bill Gates separated. So Mac operating system, OS stands for operating system, was developed by an American computer company called Apple. The operating system was introduced in 1984 to run the company's Macintosh line of personal computers. So Macintosh came before Windows computers. Now let's look at Windows. So you will be very, very familiar with Windows if you are not familiar with Mac computers. Of course, if you happen to pass by Mr. Akinsa's office, you will see that Akinsa uses Mac computer. They are the only one using Mac computers at Knitted. But if you come to my office, you will find me using Windows. So Windows is really more popular than any of the operating system. It was developed by Bill Gates. You can say Bill Gates through Microsoft Corporation. Of course, you cannot separate both Bill Gates and Microsoft Corporation. Windows actually was started in 1985, where they released the first Windows version, Windows 1. In 1992, they released Windows 3.1. In 1995, they released Windows 95 and Windows XP, Windows Vista in 2006, Windows 7 in 2009, Windows 8 in 2012, and now we have Windows 10. So you can see for me, I have lived through all the phases of Windows. In fact, I started using DOS. I will take you through what is DOS, disk operating system. But these days, people who are starting to learn computers, they start with a particular operating system called Windows. Here is Microsoft DOS operating system. This is the way in those days we used to communicate with computers. They are command driven. You type the command on your keyboard and it will appear on the screen. If you want to type something to go to a particular drive, you will type C // the directory. So Microsoft Disk Operating System was usually referred to as MS-DOS. It was a non-graphical command line. It is still a non-graphical command line operating system, which was developed by Microsoft for IBM computers. Hence, we refer to it as MS-DOS. MS-DOS allowed the user to navigate, open, and otherwise manipulate files on their computer from a command line. Each thing you type, instead of clicking on an icon like we have today, you have to type the command with your keyboard. So that is why we call it Microsoft DOS or Microsoft Disk Operating System. But today, Microsoft have advanced so much that we now have Windows 10. So if you go through any office or with any person using a modern computer, this is how the screen will look like. If you buy a computer today, you are likely going to have Windows 10 pre-installed. And through most part of this lesson or this module 2, we'll be looking at this operating system called Windows 10. Windows 10 was released for retail sales on July 29, 2005. It's even old. So we'll be looking at all of these items, how to use Windows operating system. At the bottom here, you will see what we normally refer to as a menu bar. Here, this button, we use it to switch off computer. Here, we use it to look at, the settings of the computers. So some of these icons are actually very, very familiar because you will find some of them on your cell phone. Okay, so this is Windows operating system, but there are other operating systems too, which we need to just to mention them briefly and talk about them, because these three operating systems are not the only ones. We have another one called Ubuntu operating system. Let me show you that. These are open source operating system, which means you can install it on an empty computer. It was developed, again, it's like a Linux. It was developed, I think, in the UK or so. Yeah, in the UK by a company called Konica Limited. So all the principles used to develop the Ubuntu software are based on the principles of open source software development. It operates like a Linux, which means you don't need to buy it. You don't spend money, unlike Microsoft that derive money from its operating system. With Ubuntu, you just need to get the operating system and install it on your computer. Your computer will run from afresh, which means students who want to build computer from afresh, assemble computer, can put this operating system. Ubuntu is actually an African language. Let's do something together. I think so. I think it's a word from East Africa. So these are other types of operating system you should be aware of. We are referring to operating system for laptops, for desktop. For other types of computing, like big computer, we refer to them as mini or mainframe. They use a different operating system. We refer to those operating system as Unix operating system. Now, there is another type of operating system you should be aware of, which has to do with games. If you are used to playing games, you will see that your game console also have to run on operating system before the game itself. The game is a software. So for the machine to run, to operate, to open, to close, to fast forward, whatever you do with your game, how you communicate with your console and the machine and the screen, how they communicate together, it needs also an operating system. So we have such operating system like Wii or Y, the PS3 and the Xbox. All of these have different operating system. Depending on your age, you'll be surprised that I personally have played a lot of games before when I was young. I have played with a PS1, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, but not Xbox. I've never played Xbox before. I used to also be a game addict like every other person before I got old. Okay, so games you play also have operating system. I want you to take note of that. Also, the mobile phone you use has its own operating system. If I ask you what is the most popular operating system, I think you will mention Android. Android phones. When we talk about Android phones, you are actually referring to operating system. So here are some of the popular operating systems for your mobile phones. We have Android, we have Apple called iOS operating system, we have Windows Phone operating system, BlackBerry operating system. I'm not sure if BlackBerry is still in existence. LG Web operating system, Tizen operating system, Kaios operating system. So there are so many other phones coming on board. They also have their own operating system. So this is what I want you to be aware of. So to cap it up, we have talked about operating system that operates on your desktop or laptop, on your game, and on your phone. And we also have so far mentioned different operating systems, especially for the laptops or your desktop. We mentioned about Linux operating system. We have also mentioned about Macintosh operating system, Mac OS, and we also mentioned Windows operating system. Besides that, we said there is Ubuntu operating system, and we also have DOS, Microsoft DOS operating system that can I say matured or upgraded to Windows operating system. In all, operating systems help us to drive applications, help us to run your computer system. In our next lesson in module 2, we will be briefly discussing on applications. Let me bring it up here. Applications, sometimes people refer to them as apps, but they are programs or software. For example, you are used to a lot of apps on your phone. Apps to clean it, apps for calendar, apps to chat. There are so many applications for so many things. In the main desktop or your computer, before you can type a document, you need applications. Before you can type on a spreadsheet, you need an application. Before you can draw or design, you need applications. So in our next lesson, still on module 2, we'll be having a brief discussion on the different applications. So this is the end of my lesson, but I have good news for you. These lessons are going to be now available on Knitted website. I want to explain it to you properly. We are the only school anyway in Namibia that provide facilities for online learning. You should be very proud of yourself. So you will receive these lessons via our SIMS portal, sims.polytechnic.edu.na, your normal e-learning portal. You will also have access to them if you log on to our e-learning portal. This is the address: https://www.needtedpolytechnic.edu.na/e-learning. It doesn't require you to have a password. You will just enter your name and your email. No need for a password, and you log in. So I will be taking you through this e-learning portal. You will find the same courses. I will upload this particular course to your normal student portal. I will also upload it to this e-learning portal. But it is more robust on this portal because you will have access to my notes. You will have access to my questions and quiz and tests for you to answer. So this is the end of our training or for this lesson today, Module 2, Lesson 1. Module 2, Lesson 2 will be coming your way in the next class. Enjoy your stay indoor, your lockdown. Don't go out, be safe. You can see my hair has grown even though I'm bald. I stay indoor, but I get myself occupied by finding time to prepare your lesson and record them, put them in the PowerPoint, write notes, and upload. So I hope you will also actually go through them, do the exercises. It's not for fun. This is the new normal way of training. It's not for fun. So do what we say you should do, because we are going to assess you at the end of the day. Just to refresh your memory, I hope you will like this next image. You remember your first day at Needed. So I'm encouraging you to stay safe so that you come back healthy. Okay. So I will be teaching you a lot of things, a lot of stuff, even how to bring your photographs to your computer, how to organize your images. So you remember this man? This is Akisa, was taking you around the school premises. You remember this madam? This is your register, Martha. And we are committed to making your stay at Needed worthwhile. So thank you for listening to this lesson. We'll be improving on the lessons day by day. Our next lesson will be far much better. I have to cut it short. I have a signal to take another person on a different online training. Thank you very much.